Hey guys, Loco here with 9.6 patch notes. Let's see what it is. Hey beauties. We got a whole bunch of stuff in this patch, including some small updates to features like Lever Buster, frame rate cap, and mission tracker. Okay, I don't really care. Let's go to the actual meat and potato updates. Kayle. Kayle's been a very interesting champion, where Kayle, I feel like, is so strong at level 16, and she's okay strong at level 11, but the curve is so rough where the early levels is like, it so fucking feels bad, man. So I wish if the curve was a little bit more evened out, where she's stronger early but weaker later. So hopefully they did the changes towards that and made her a little bit stronger early and a little bit weaker later. Alright, let's see. Attack damage growth and attack speed growth decrease, W movement speed ratio decrease, default adaptive swaps, EW responsiveness increased. So they just nerfed her late game without buffing her early. Kayle is looking quite strong, especially as players learn how to play her, but her W and E can feel awkward since she typically builds a lot of attack speed. We're fixing that as well as buffing up her W to be better reactive defensive in lane. Instant haste equals easier dodging. To compensate, we're hitting her late game power in ways that make her feel a bit more item dependent. So what they're doing is making her a little bit more weaker later on, which is something I did agree with. She feels too strong later on, but at the cost of what they are buffing is making her smoother, and it's almost quality of life change than a buff, but it is technically still a buff, but very small buff. So okay with the changes. I wish her early game was a bit better, but her late game is good enough to make up for it, apparently, according to Riot. So okay with the changes. I do think how they're reading Kayle and where they think her power spike is and where she's too strong is in the correct spot. Neeko ni. Attack speed growth increase. W no longer procs twice in a row at very high attack speed. I don't like the existence of on-hit Neeko. On-hit Neeko is not what Riot intended Neeko to be, and they're kind of allowing that playstyle to live on. I wish they kill on-hit Neeko and make her more of a AP caster, because that's what the design for Neeko was, and on-hit Neeko is this monstrosity that came from people realizing her W is really good. But creative builds though. Creative builds, let's see, are creative builds good for the game? I tend to disagree that creative builds aren't that great for the game, and it can make for toxic play patterns that Riot never intended. So Riot never intended an on-hit champion to have stun or snare, and Neeko has both. Like Riot doesn't want to give AoE CC to AD carries, right? But when Neeko gets played as an on-hit AD carry, it's like she has these AoE stun that's never supposed to be part of an ADC kit. So that's where some of the problem arises. Think back to stuff like Tank Echo. Riot killed Tank Echo because tanks weren't supposed to be that mobile and tanks weren't supposed to be that sticky, but on-hit Echo allowed tank to be sticky. So there are problems with creative builds, and I'm not comfortable with on-hit Neeko being a thing. And I think Riot should kill on-hit Neeko. Ornn. W cooldown decreased. Recommended items updated. Ornn can no longer accidentally cancel E and R dashes by upgrading ally items. Q no longer expires if Ornn is in mid dash. So these are all quality of life changes, other than the W, which is a straight buff. So they're making Ornn a little bit easier to play. And I do think quality of life changes are so good. Because think of it this way. Whenever you have to combat a certain mechanic with your champion, right? Where you have to kind of, how to describe it? Where something's very hard to play about your champion, or something is very hard to master about your champion, then you're actually combating your own champion and mastering your own champion before moving on to be able to actually play that champion to its fullest. So quality of life changes makes the champion easier to play, but you still have to interact with your opponent and you still have to outplay your opponent. And I want players to outplay their opponents more so than outplay their own mechanics. I hope I explained that well. Urgot. Mana. Regen growth increase. Passive no longer deals reduced damage to same target. W shield removed. Cost cooldown damage reduction decrease. Now a permanent toggle at max rank. E now shields, damage and cost increase, cooldown decrease, R range, damage cast time increase. So what they're doing with Urgot, let me try to explain. So they're making him very strong at certain things and making him a lot weaker and giving him clear weaknesses. So this is a kind of game direction that I really love from Riot. Strong weakness, but also, or strong strength, but also very clear weaknesses. By moving the shield to E, whenever you miss your E and you go in, you're in a very weak spot. So there's a lot more risk with going in with your E now, which is great and which is something I love. And by giving W, his W is the where he goes and he can do max damage to you. At max rank, it becomes a toggle, so you can have it on the whole time, and that makes Urgot very interesting. So if you're in the middle of a fight and actually on top of a target, you are able to gun them down. And ult range being increased, cast time being increased very, very slightly, this makes more satisfying Urgot snipes happen. So they're making like high strength and like high memorable moments for Urgot, which is so great, while still giving him clear weaknesses. Simple changes. Aatrox now pulls target even when they are untargetable. Passive no longer cancels when reviving. So this is through, I would imagine, Fid's jump and Vlad W when they're untargetable. R damage increase. Nice. More Caitlyn buff. W cooldown decreased on Mega Gnar. Nice. These are all very nice small buffs. This is more of a buff fix. Deals 10% additional damage per stack of Rampage, so I don't think it's going to put Hecarim over the top. So things that I think have competitive implications. Nope. Ivern, nope. I don't think Ivern is going to make competitive. This health related base stat decrease is actually pretty meaningful because Jace early game was fucking crazy. Jace was the strongest early game champion, so this is going to have competitive implications. LeBlanc Q slight decrease. This won't have that much competitive implications. Nautilus armor increase, passive cooldown decrease. Nautilus might see more play. This is gonna have competitive implication. Maybe more Nautilus support. R cooldown increase late, ratio decrease. Rek'Sai will still get played. Yes, it has competitive implications, but this doesn't change Rek'Sai still getting played. Maybe a little bit more Shen. I don't think matters that much. W decrease on Silas. I think this is good. These are good changes, and it's going to have very slight competitive implication. Trundle buff. I don't think we're going to see Trundle. Zayat. We already see Zayat. This will allow us to see a little bit more Zayat, but not that much. Zoe nerfs. Thank God. Overall, all these like small changes were buffs and nerfs on the right champion. So I'm happy with all this stuff. Okay, so tier nerf. This is huge. No longer double tier Israel. That's great. It makes Israel more balanced in terms of his late game scaling and the crazy kind of damage on Q, so I think this is good. Brawler Club no longer being unique. I think this was a good change, but it's not something super important because people weren't stacking this. Wow, decreasing the charges, holy shit. But the base damage bonus is going up. Additional damage bonus going up, but you get to use it earlier. Good change. I like this change towards Minion Dematerializer. Shield conversion decreased early. Overheal being must pick on AD carry is bad, so this kind of stuff is good too. Oh shit, bounty changes. This is actually huge. Let's read it. Minions and monster gold bounties occur more slowly and decrease if you're losing your advantage. Scoreboard numbers no longer include base kill or first blood gold. Nice. So this makes it so if you're power farming, you don't get a huge bounty, which is great. I think the kind of bounty that you had while still being at 000 was ridiculous. So these are good directional changes for bounties. This is a giant wall of text, so I'm not going to read it. Rank reset, something people all asked about. So I'm currently Diamond 4 right now. So even if I get to Diamond 3, I'll just go back to Diamond 4. So I'm getting fucked. Ugh, this is a bad change for me. And also people that are asking, I'm not Diamond, but I'm Platinum. Why don't we get a rank reset? Because it's not affecting Platinum players that much. You can tell me that it's affecting you a lot, but Riot has better API and better numbers and more stats, and Riot decided it's not affecting Platinum players as enough or as much as they think, so that's why rank reset is only applying to Diamond and above. High-end frame rate cap. Not important for me, not important, not important, not important. Okay, overall, another great patch for Riot. They are actually resetting ranked, and all the changes are towards the right direction. I don't think there was a single change where I looked at it and I'm like, this change is fucking stupid. As I say that, I thought the Neeko change was fucking stupid, yeah. So other than the Neeko change, I think overall, great patch. I want Riot to kill Neeko, on-hit Neeko, but other than that, lovely patch. Good job, Riot. I like your 9.6 patch.